welcome to the Music Arc on the Arc of E Network. My name is Noah.
And my name is Patrick Duffy, and I took a beating. I'm just kidding, my name's Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers, back once again, this time discussing sophomore albums. But before we get to that, a few notes in general. We host a little podcast also on part of the Arc of E Network called Carpenter Revisited. If you're not listening, you should be. But since we're not recording a new episode for that for a while, and there was some huge news which technically, tangentially relates to the music arc, we got to shout this out. John Carpenter returned to directing after 7 years with a video for Christine. Yeah.
A reworking of the theme for the movie Christine, which we've covered.
Yes.
And I think the text I got from you was, I just came a little bit.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I kind of did too.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
He still got it. It looks amazing. He's in it on top of that.
Yes.
And it sounds amazing as well.
Did you ever watch the video for Night?
Yeah, I watched the video.
Like he puts on the VR headset and everything? That is dope, dude.
No, yeah. all of the stuff so far has been awesome.
Yeah, I loved this Christine video so much. I tweeted at him. I commented on the thread for his Twitter post. Then I made my own Twitter post and tagged him and Sandy King. And I was just like, Sandy King, can you make him do a video for every song? Because I would love it if I get an Escape and a Big Trouble with Kurt Russell in the music video with John. Or if don't even do the big
thought that far.
Don't do the Big Trouble theme. Do an updated Big Trouble in Little China. Get Nick Castle, get Tommy Lee Wallace
back together.
Get the Coupe de Villes back together again.
I think that's like the 5th or 6th time we've said that at this point. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video yet, go check it out and keep an ear out for the anthology itself, which comes out on October 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that'll basically be our next episode of Carpenter Revisited.
Yeah, we should just wait till
we'll go through that and we'll do our music list. That'll
for
be
him.
nice.
Yeah, that actually like a dual, movie / music arc in one mashup.
Yeah.
The two.
Crossover, which we've just been doing a ton of lately on the arcofe.com.
And we'll call it all that stuff. We'll call it Jack's Not Wings.
Yep. Totally. Jack's Not Wings, as always. # Jack's Not Wings. So now that we have our Carpenter Revisited business out of the way, let's dive right into what across all the podcasts we've done so far, which is a good little bit. And as far as top 10 list, I think we've maybe done 7 or so.
7 or 8-ish.
Yeah.
Again, we're not sure. Jack's Not Wings.
Yeah. Jack's Not Wings. Yep. Lovers, not experts. On that note,
I wish you could have been.
This, I was totally building up to it. Go ahead, man.
I wish you could have been in the room when I had to explain to Dad what Jack's Not Wings means.
Did he? Okay. Side note. Again, sorry if you came immediately expecting a top 10. On that note, yeah, he texted me Jack's Not Wings, and I had the same thought. I was like, did he listen through the episode? And even in the context of the episode, I'm like, do you get it if you're not like on the same page with the thought process we had at the time? But yeah, I was like, did he get it when he texted it to us, or did you have to explain it to him after the fact?
He texted to me. I sent you the screen cap, and then when I was talking to him last Saturday, I went over to watch the Carolina game at his place, watch kickoff there, and we watched the rest at the bar. But he was like, so Jack's Not Wings, huh? And I was like, yeah. Do you get? He's like, I mean, I listened to it. Like Noah asked me if I listened to all of them, but I mean, if I'm going to cut the grass, I'll put the earphones in and I'll listen and walk and listen to the podcast. And I was like, yeah, dude, that's a great way to kill time. Why not? You listen to talk radio all the time. Why not listen to your sons talk about stuff? Yeah. And I explained to him
even if it's the bullshit that you don't care about hearing like in person when we're not there. Yeah. It's kind of like we're just in the background like we normally are.
Yeah. Just maybe brings him to a nice center. I explained to him the whole idea that like Jack is not an expert at all in like Chinese mythology or what's going on. And Dad's like, oh, he's just like along for the ride. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. So he got it a little bit. But yeah, that was just, I wish you could have been in the shop to have that conversation.
That would have been awesome.
But yeah, so # Jack's Not Wings.
Yep. And that's been Dad Corner.
Dad Corner.
Back. We
haven't had one in forever, dude.
Man.
Dad Corner on the music arc, son.
All right. Yep.
Cue the Parliament, or no, Lakeside. Yep. Hey, come on, take a ride. It's a party over there and ain't no jive.
Dude, I think if if we could get Dad on any podcast,
it would be
top 10 funk songs and or albums, and we could just talk to him about like growing up in the 70s and stuff. It'd be so much fun.
I played him Today Was a Good Day from Ice Cube, and he was like, I like that song. I was like, yeah, it's dope. He goes, I liked it when it was Footsteps in the Dark Part 2. I was like, what?
There's so much, like, that would almost be interesting in and of itself. If we took, like, all of the stuff that he loves that has been sampled in, like, more modern hip-hop and stuff, and just try to see what he thinks of it, that would be a great cast.
Yeah, we have to talk to him about that. Maybe like, as a birthday gift to you next month, he'll do it.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
I feel like that would be the one way to get him on here, is talk about his music taste, because he's got, like,
like,
he's got some pretty good
like,
music taste. He is the sole reason that I listen to, like, he brings like the funk, soul, R&B, like all of that side. I mean, Mom a little bit, but more so like that influence comes from Dad.
Yeah, he definitely like you. Oh man, you should have seen him at the tailgate the other day for Darlington when like funk stuff would come on. I don't know what it is, but like I want to get his like our age now. I want to get his playlist then, because he would have been like late 70s, early 80s, just in the just joined the Air Force. Like he would tell me about how he would go like get all of his shit done on Friday nights. And then like by the time he got to the bar, all the guys that left work are like drunk, and he's showing up at 9 all fresh, like, hey ladies, want to dance? And then they boom, like he's on the dance floor and shit. And I'm like, dude, why am I almost 30 and just hearing this? Like you had like a really dope life before Noah and I showed up. We must have bored the shit out of you. Oh, I'm just sitting home, pizza on Friday nights, but I'm sure he loves us.
He seems pretty happy. I know
sure
he loves us.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dad Corner Part 2.
Part 2.
Moving along.
Let me go back to your segue. I'm so sorry for interrupting, but I had to tell you that story. Had to tell you that story. It was hilarious.
All I was gonna say, this is the hardest list I've had to make across all of these top 10s. I'm currently showing Gavin this is my like
God, dude.
My brainstorm page, which pretty much looks like a government document that was like redacted by a 3-year-old, maybe.
Who's not on his ADHD medicine?
I'm sure we'll get into this when we get to juniors, which you won't hear till next week, but we're about to record in the room. You see behind the curtain. Man. Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Anyways,
you want to start it off? You want me to start it off?
I guess I'll open, and I'll go ahead and say up front, anybody who tuned out at the beginning of the last episode when we opened by talking about the Killers for like 15 minutes, because I think you opened Hot Fuss was your number 10, and it was on my list. I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. And again, this was the hardest list to make, so I stuck this at number 10, and it's technically cheating, but I don't care. This was a very difficult list. I'm going to slide 2 in here. Not only am I going to briefly talk about Sam's Town, which I mentioned as much on the first cast,
but Brandon Flowers' second album.
His second album, The Desired Effect.
How did we not know that
I've shouted at you like forever, but it's amazing. It is truly like he set out to make an album where every single song could be a single, and I think he pretty much did it. Like top to bottom, it's totally listenable. It is a fantastic pop album. I love all of the 80s influence in it. I'm just going to shout out real quick, I Can Change, Still Want You, and Digging Up the Heart.
You can't drive, and when it finally put the asphalt to the tire, looks something like 16 on the fire, ripping through the dark. He's digging up the heart, digging up the heart, digging up the heart. Well, it ain't that strange, any boy can change, digging up the heart.
3 favorites off of that. We don't have to talk about Sam's Town, but it's one of those that they took a clear like change in trajectory for maybe where people thought they were going to go, and went with this like very Springsteen influenced like, storytelling rock Americana feel, and I absolutely love it. I think it's better than Hot Fuss. I think it's more of a cohesive feel, and it is technically like a concept album.
Does that guy Read My Mind on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's my favorite of theirs.
On that as well, For Reasons Unknown, Bones,
yes,
and This River Is Wild, I would shout out as well. But we'll table that unless they show up on your list. Okay, well, that's it. You don't have to hear about the Killers anymore, so I hope you stick around past that. stuck around. Yeah. Over to you for your number 10.
All right, my number 10 comes from 2004, and it is an album, the album entitled A Grand Don't Come Free by The Streets.
Okay.
And most specifically, the song Fit But You Know It.
See, I reckon you're about an 8 or a 9. Maybe even 9.5 in 4 beers time. That blue top shop top you've got on is nice. Bit too much fake tan, no, but yeah, you score high. But there's just one little thing that's really annoying me about you see. Yeah, like I said, you are really fit, but my gosh, don't you just know it?
I'm not trying to pull you, even though I would like to. I think you are really fit. You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it?
Okay.
You ever heard
that is the only song
That is the only song
I know by
that
them.
yeah. The rest of the album is
There's
really
other good stuff on here?
There's other good stuff on there, but like that's the one everybody would know. But Louis Joyce turned me on to these guys, and I started listening to them a lot. This is like around like I don't know 2005, 2006. So they were relatively new, and I remember listening to them and watching Ali G into House a lot.
Okay.
As like my exposure to English culture, which probably isn't a good idea, but I don't care because I fucking loved it. Ali G in the House is hilarious.
Fantastic.
Still
show.
holds up today.
Yeah. The movie is even kind of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, the Streets, A Grand Don't Come Free, 2004. That's my number 10. I haven't listened to it in a long time, so I couldn't tell you the names of it. It's not in my mind as much as some of these other albums I'm going to get to.
Okay.
But if you don't listen to any other song, listen to Fit But You Know It. It's kind of a fun, catchy little, I don't know what you want to call it. Just
It's
story-esque.
It's
kind of
playful.
playful, very fun and playful. So it's a nice way to introduce yourself to them. So
For
yeah.
sure.
No, you're number 9, brother.
My number 9 is Alopecia from the band Y. Came out in 2008. It is produced by the two brothers who are also part of the band, Josiah Wolf and Yoni Wolf, the lead singer. And they run, I forget the name of the label at the moment, but it's like basically indie rock fused with hip hop. I don't know how else to describe it. Very unique sounding band. Definitely not for everybody. Case in point, I feel like you can throw on this album to start for anybody, and everybody's gonna love the first track. Like, it kind of catches you off guard, but everybody I played it for seems to dig it.
I'm not a ladies' man, I'm a landmine, filming my own fake death. Under an 88 Cavalier I go. Bye, nothing but the rear bumper's blown. But I was born for this flight, United 955 on the 5th of July. Back to SFOI, I joined the dark side in a thin disguise. I was on consumer grade video at night.
The true test is when you get to track 2, which you might recognize from Bellflower, because they use a ton of this album in particular in the soundtrack to Bellflower. So Good Friday is the second song of the album, and that's where you're basically like, okay, this is dark, this is weird, I don't know like what the tone of this is necessarily. But if you continue to go with it, I feel like it has 4 of like the strongest openers, and basically this sets the table. And like, if you're into this, I encourage you to listen to the first 4 songs. If you're into it, continue with the rest of the album, and you're going to find what I think will become one of your favorites. They're one of those bands, I don't have like a standout full album from them other than this one, but this one sticks out in my mind. And they've had a ton of output since. Again, this is 2008. But go check it out, specifically The Vowels Part 2, which opens the album, like I said, Good Friday, into These Few Presidents and The Hollows. And go from there. But be forewarned, it is out there, and it is definitely not for everybody. But I think you dig it, brother.
I might dig it. I'll go check it out.
Your number 9.
My number 9 is from 1984, a little album called It's My Life by the band Talk Talk.
Okay.
Featuring Such a Shame and, of course, the titular track. I've been waiting so long to say titular on a podcast.
Titular.
The titular song, It's My Life.
Funny how I found myself in love with you. If I could find my reasoning, I'm
are born after 1992, you would probably recognize It's My Life as a No Doubt song.
Yes.
But as I always do, when I hear covers, I have to remind people, that ain't their song, that's so-and-so's song.
It's my life. Don't you forget. It's my life. It never ends.
So yes, No Doubt covered it. It's My Life. Gwen did a great job, but
That's
love the
definitely got to
original.
be a top 10 coming up soon.
Yes.
Top 10 cover songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. I'm gonna have way too many for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to do
That's
like
going to be a tough one.
we might have to do like a top 15 or like a 1 and 2 parts.
Yeah, I seriously could have gotten 2 full top 10s out of
Yeah.
what I came up with for sophomore. So we will have a ton of honorable mentions at the end. So if you don't hear something you were expecting to hear, it might be buried there, or our tastes just don't quite align. We'll see.
Yeah. There's some other good talk stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say
afterwards,
I'm
but like
really
this is
only
the,
familiar with that one.
this is
single.
the one that you would recognize as like their thing. I'm trying to think. I'll give you. Let me look up the greatest hits just to kind of run through some extra ones because I know everybody knows Talk, Such a Shame, and Life's What You Make It.
Oh, I do like that song.
Desire.
Okay.
And they basically have like a couple of like different versions of them. Like even on the original album, It's My Life, there's like a extended cut or something different of it. But kind of a neat little 80s band. I don't really know where they kind of stand in the pantheon of like great. I don't know if you call them new wave or if you want to call them like just pop or what, but it's fun stuff. It's not anything heavy. It's definitely not like The Cure or
It's so
Depeche
weird
Mode.
how like for a long time I feel like all of those production elements that you hear in 80s music were like derided as like, oh, that sounds bad.
Yeah.
And like it's slowly come full circle and
Yeah.
like it's back in fashion now, and there's so much in like mainstream pop music right now that's just like we're living in the 80s again essentially, except a really shitty version of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't like most of
Where the bad guy from the 80s is now the president, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Where Zapka took over.
Dude. Dude, if Zapka ran tomorrow, I would vote for him.
Yeah, side note, I cannot wait for that Cobra Kai show.
Yes.
We've got to cover that.
Dude.
YouTube Red.
Yep.
YouTube Red.
Did you see, and just speaking of 80s, did you see MTV has this thing called 90s House coming out where they're like going to make people live in a house like it's 1990? They took away their phones and all this shit.
No, but that sounds intriguing.
Yeah,
That
it's
might
probably
be
gonna be
the
really
first thing
dumb.
I watch on MTV in like a decade.
Yeah. I mean, probably going to be a lot better than that Siesta Key show, but I don't like that Siesta Key show because I love that place. And I feel like even though those kids live there, they're like trampling on my home, even though I vacation there once a week, 1 week out of the year. These kids like live there, but it is what it is. I actually saw them filming one of the episodes when I was down there this year.
Okay.
Then I watched the first episode on mute. But I actually, if you can get past the terrible dialogue and listen to the music, I realized that's how MTV's getting music out there, man. Because there's some good songs, and I was like, this fits the mood. I know what I'm supposed to be feeling. I don't want to listen to these people
This
talking
music's
anymore.
telling me how to feel.
Yeah, this music's getting at me. It's hitting me in my feels, as the young kids say. But yeah, so number 9, Talk, It's My Life, 1984. You're number 8.
My number 8, they appeared on my debuts. There was a few where I was like, should I just knock them off just because of that? But at the end of the day, I had to go, like, what are my legit favorite stuff I throw on constantly to actually listen to? And Weatherbox is back here again. Their 2009 album, The Cosmic Drama. If you thought it couldn't get any better than American art, it can, and it continues to. I will shout out That Man, which opens the album, King Fran, The Showing of the Instruments, which is track 2, Ask My Flashlight, track 10, Don't Say Nice Things, track 12, and the closer, No Hands, Anything That Moves. Again, brother, I've shouted it at you a billion times. Go listen to them. They are as if Modest Mouse and Say Anything had a baby, and they're amazing, and they're no longer a band. So it's like, maybe it's just going to be the 3 albums and the handful of EPs. Go check him out if you're a fan of just, I don't even know how to begin to talk about Brian Warren and how much I love his lyrics and his just like approach to songwriting in general.
Taking chances, every game I've got. Breaking
Go check them out. And that's my number 8, The Cosmic Drama from Weatherbox.
All right, so I'm keeping the 80s. My number 8 is Songs from the Big Chair, 1985, from
Tears for Fears.
Shout.
Shout.
Let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on.
Dum, dum, dum.
I'm talking to you. And then something. No. I wanted to be with you alone. And talk about
I'm
the
just
weather.
gonna let them sing
Yeah,
for a little
yeah.
bit. But
This is where you cut in Everybody Wants to Rule the World because that's the one everyone knows.
Yes.
But yes,
and it's like unequivocal. Like it's
the
got
best trailer song,
it's,
dude.
Well, it's got to be in the top 50 just songs of all time. I'm
Yes.
sorry, even if you hate the 80s, like it's just one of those songs.
That
I
is
never
one of my
tire of hearing it on the
favorite
radio.
driving songs, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't just want to put it in like the lowest gear and just take the corners and just ship. Just it's because of the video, dude. How he's driving that old ass car in the video. It's great.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the
But yeah, so shout. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Mothers Talk. I Believe. And Head Over Heels. Head Over Heels is a live track on this, so maybe it was on another album, but it was featured on this one when it was released. So I'm giving Head Over Heels.
Other thing I love about them, they're still fucking doing it. Like
Yes.
they were at Bonnaroo like a year or two
They
ago.
were at the I
and
Love the
they
I Heart 80s
still
Festival.
Sound fantastic.
Yes.
And apparently their set list is just like, yeah, we're not gonna pussyfoot around. Like we're gonna give you everything you want to hear, top to bottom, in a set, with maybe a handful of like
Out
deep
there
cut
things, yeah.
fan favorites in there. But they
That's,
hit everything. They don't shy away from like we're gonna play the hits.
Crowded House and Rick Astley. I know Rick Astley's more like late 80s, 90s, but like both of them, when they talked to Chris Hardwick on The Nerdist, were like, yeah, we don't shy away from the fact that like we have certain songs everybody wants. We don't, I can't remember the guy's name from Crowded House. He's like, no, I don't ever not play Don't Dream It's Over. But like some people like Fall at Your Feet, so I play that. And it was kind of neat because at the end of that one, he actually played acoustic, some songs for Chris Hardwick. And then Rick Astley, same thing. He's like, I know what made me a hit. I get that like it's coming back around. Like the internet kept me alive. So I don't shy away from that, you know. But I do have other songs that are good. So I hope people, you know, will want to hear them as well. But yeah, Tears for Fears is still doing it. Probably best use of that song is the Pirates of Silicon Valley trailer. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I was just talking about that movie Saturday night, as a matter of fact.
I guess that's technically TV arc, but we could maybe shoehorn that into
Yeah.
movie arc, TV movie.
It's only because when we were at the bar, one of the bar hands was like, here comes Bill Gates. And what? The guy walked in, looked just like Bill Gates with like
Yeah.
a smoking hot younger lady with him. It's like, okay, Bill. And then I just turned to somebody and said, hey, did you ever see the Pirates of Silicon Valley on TNT? No? Okay. Well, maybe I was just me. And then the conversation was over.
I'm trying to think of other, like, there is, for some reason, always sticks out in my mind. There's an episode of ER that
Yes.
ends with the use of it. For some reason, that's in my brain. What are some, like, big movies? I feel like, yeah, trailers all over the place, but yeah, I feel like that's a quintessential, like, everybody knows it, like,
Yeah.
just as a baseline.
We should send that into space
And I feel
again.
like there's nothing but goodwill towards Tears for Fears in general.
Yeah, no
Like,
one hates on
I never hear anybody like, oh, I fucking hate this song. Like, everybody likes Tears for Fears.
And I mean, and Donnie Darko brought it back with Head Over Heels. I feel like a whole new
sure.
generation found out about them through that.
That soundtrack,
Dude,
top to bottom,
yes.
fantastic.
That's another good one. Movie soundtracks.
Yeah, we'll
Get
get
on
there.
there.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Just got to get through the rest of this list.
Yep.
My number 7, is that correct?
Yep.
Staying in the alternative indie rock vein. First time they've shown up, they definitely could have been an honorable mention on debuts. Manchester Orchestra with Mean Everything to Nothing. I love them in general. This is the quintessential album for them, though, for me. This is where I would say, if you want to see like everything that they're about, you can go here. Now, they've definitely, the follow-up, Simple Math, branches out a little more like sonically speaking, but still kind of retains the core of what they're about. Their most recent one, Black Mountain of the Surface. I enjoy. I'm still kind of processing in general, but they definitely have gotten to the point where they now change it up a good bit. But this is a nice blend of what they do. And right when this came out, I mean, I was in college at the time, and it hit perfectly. I saw them on tour prior to this coming out, and then like 3 or 4 times after the fact. And it remains one of my favorites. I can throw it on anytime, and I enjoy it. I'll shout out the opener, The Only One, followed by Shake It Out, track 2. My Friend Marcus, track 8. Everything to Nothing, track 10.
Definitely not the things that I'm seeing. Did I think I see so instantly? I found a note in my grandfather's coat. When I read it out loud, I got cold. She said, I'm not complaining, yeah, was just saying I'm a man, I'm a lost one, you see. Come down with me to a place we'll get clean and we'll meet within me eventually. You mean everything.
And The River, which is technically the closer, but there is a song called Jimmy He Whispers, which is kind of like a bonus track built in there. But fantastic album, still holds up. Go check it out if you haven't heard it before. If you're into the brand new, if you listen to our opening episode about brand new, they are kind of one of the current disciples of that. They toured with them quite a bit. And yeah, go check it out. Your number 7, brother.
My number 7. I'm going to argue that this has to be a sophomore album because originally this album was released titled Hooked.
Okay. Did you literally have to do like looking up notes in the room to like?
No. I just
Oh, okay.
making sure I got the numbers right because apparently the last number thing we have, I messed it up completely. Yeah. So
Yeah, I feel like somewhere in here we're gonna have an album that can be debated because there's so many like, oh well, technically it was an EP, but was it a full length, or they self-released it, so it's not a studio album? Like,
this
So-
is it because this was self-released as or on a different label and released as an album called Hooked. But in 1990, a little album called To the Extreme by Vanilla Ice came out.
is this seriously on your? Okay,
Yeah, number 7, To the Extreme, Vanilla Ice.
just give me a little refresher again. I know we just talked about it. Give me a little refresher on the 3 that didn't make the cut past Vanilla Ice.
The Streets,
Okay,
Talk,
okay.
Tears for Fears.
Oh,
Wait for the next half of the list, dude. It's good, I promise.
Okay, brother.
I'm charting this one because of the fact that it could be argued it should be a second album. 2, it is, quintessentially the album of the 90s when it comes to white rap. And I mean, just look at the trajectory that it put Vanilla Ice on. Somebody plays the first single was released. It was terrible. Somebody played the B-side, and oh my God, Ice Ice Baby's on here. There's a cover of
Oh, I wonder why everybody likes it so much.
ding
Oh, it
ding
stole
ding
a
ding
hook
to the ding
that's
ding
like fucking
ding ding ding
perfect.
ding to the ding ding ting. It's that extra ting, dude. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Rob said it himself. Yeah. So number 7, Vanilla Ice To the Extreme. You rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage, and watch it jump like a candle.
Okay. And name me one other song off of
Play
this
that funky
album.
music, Vanilla Ice. It's also
Okay.
a cover, probably too. I don't know.
God damn it. This is the first one we've gotten to where I'm flabbergasted. This is on your favorite albums. Period. Okay. Excuse me, favorite sophomore albums.
Sophomore albums.
Dude, there's so many sophomore albums, but I can't wait to hear what outranks the Iceman.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, how to
this is-
recover? We'll recover by talking about a fantastic band that's close to our hearts here, the Archivy Network. All Get Out makes the list once again.
See, I
They
set
only
you
have
up
2
perfectly
albums.
for that.
The second one is even better than the first, The Season, which appeared on my first list. Can't really remember where I ranked it. Don't have it in front of me right now. Sorry about that. Came out last year. Absolutely fabulous album, top to bottom. I love the pacing of it. It's like short and sweet, gets in, gets out, but still manages to have a lot of different flavors in there. I will shout out Room to Talk, the opener. You've heard all of these on the movie arc at some point, probably. Whatever, track 4. Now you've got it. Personal favorite, number 7.
For every product I invent comes another prodigy with cooler scents. And now that I can see it, I'll bow out and not repeat it. Move my heart to simple art conceit. Oh, now you got it. Oh, you 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 now you got it. Oh, you.
And number 9, ATX. We just saw them recently. I assume you enjoyed the show, sir.
I did. It amazes me. I think I talked about it on that arc on the about how I see them. I've never seen them outside of Columbia, but like I'm there, and I remember being a kid in the crowd at all these shows and like thinking like, God, these bands I'm seeing are fucking awesome. And it's weird to look at kids that I don't know, but I've seen multiple times at the same venue that are like just they're shouting out every word, they're going crazy, they're hanging on every movement. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know the drummer. I knew was it Gordon used to be the drummer at some point. I don't know who was playing drums from this time, but when he got up and doused everybody with water, everybody went crazy. Like they're jumping all over that tiny stage, and I'm just like, guys, one of you's gonna hit your head. Something's gonna go somewhere. Because I've watched someone hit their head. One of the guys from when I was at the Hawthorne Heights show, the guy that was doing merch ran up on stage and was hitting a cowbell to keep time while the drummer quit. And then when the drummer came back, he ran and dove and hit his head on a light. So I'm always afraid someone's going to hit their head on a light at New Brooklyn Tavern. But it just amazes me how many people just are digging all get out, that vibe, that feel, just all of that. They're not just a jam band. They're not just like an indie rock thing. They're not. It's weird because I consider them local. Nathan's a good friend. Love Erica to death. Know some of the other guys as well. And it's just crazy that like people all over the place know who they are. They're in Europe right now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or going to be soon.
Yeah, they're either on their way or they're there as we speak.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so-
their first UK tour, which is awesome. You may have the chance to catch them very soon. I think there is going to be a fall tour. I don't know if all of those dates have been announced yet, but keep an eye out for that. Just to tie in as well with my previous number 7, this album was produced by Andy Hall
I was
and
gonna say,
Robert
I
McDowell
thought
from Manchester Orchestra.
Which people keep telling me I need to go meet him. They tell me that they mistake me. I've had 3 people in my office at work pull up a picture of him like, do you know who this guy is? I'm like, yeah, I know
you
who he
guys
is.
do look remarkably
Yeah.
similar.
So maybe I can get a job being like a body double.
Go for it.
Yeah, you should tell him to hit me.
Or just like a decoy that he pays like $50 and let's come to shows for free.
Yeah, just
Something
put glasses on and stand there and sign autographs for him.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that'd be
You could
dope.
totally pull that off. You should
Thanks.
try that at the next show we go to.
Yeah.
Your number 6, or
My number 6 is from 2010.
dude, you got
Man on the Moon 2, The Legend of Mr. Rager by Kid
okay.
Cudi.
God, you saved it. I can't.
Specifically,
I still can't get over Vanilla Ice, dude. Let's see if he can trumpet people. Let's see if he can flabbergast me once again. But yeah, Kid Cudi appeared on your first list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yes.
The whole album is dope. Specifically, I'll put out Don't Play This Song, Marijuana.
I'm going to shout out my favorite, which I can't remember the title of right now.
How's it go?
Keep going. List some more for me.
Ashton Kutcher, Ashton Kutcher, Erase
Me,
Wow,
featuring
'Cause I'm
Kanye
Young.
West.
Yes.
That is my favorite, and that's what I'm gonna play right now. I'm pulling, producer, editor card.
She said I don't spend time like I really should. She said she don't know me anymore. I think she hates me deep down. I know she does. She wants
That's
But
what's
you
getting
gotta
dropped
do the
in.
part where it's, yeah, I'm in the magazines, on the TV, no matter where you are, you might see
It's
me.
actually my least favorite
You don't
section
like
of that
Kanye's
song.
section? Yeah,
no,
no.
I mean I like I'm just saying
This
overall.
what this bitch tells me. She said, yeah, you should do that. This is this is night and day. I'm not gonna say better than the first album, but there's a few.
It feels like a continuation. I mean, not just in title alone, but it
Yeah.
feels like a continuation, not like a full on. How does it? It came out like the following year. If I'm
Yeah,
not
I
mistaken?
believe so. Because this was 2010, and let me see when the first one was. Yeah, 2009, 2010.
It definitely feels like you could just roll straight into the next one.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, there's a clear departure for the second album. They're going for something different. But
Yeah.
a lot of times it's also, I think, kind of as we see over the course of this list, it's kind of a polishing of that first sound, which maybe the first record didn't have the right production behind it or whatever. But I feel
mean, the
like
first
what
record
I
he couldn't
realized
get-
is like the sophomore slump, it's kind of a myth
Yeah.
when it comes to albums, because I found so many where I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, this is where they like took off or found themselves.
Yeah, 'cause
More so with modern bands, because again, I started looking like deep back, and it's like, again, Stones, Beatles, like Bowie,
They just
all
have
of
so
this
much
stuff is
coming
just-
out. Like,
there's like, yeah, you get like 4 or 5 initial albums, which you think of like, oh, there was like 5 or 6 hits, strewn
Yeah,
throughout
like
there, and then they start getting to full on albums. Like when you get to the 70s, anybody who started in the 60s, it's like, here's our first record, which is like maybe a couple of originals and then a bunch of covers of popular songs.
yeah.
And
If
yeah,
you listen to
it
musicians
takes a little
themselves,
while before
like-
you get to like
Like Alice Cooper was talking to Mark Maron about how like they just played covers for the opening a little bit, and like I honestly, this is how bad of a fan I was. I thought I was gonna put Thriller as my #1 sophomore album of all time. That's like Michael Jackson's like 5th solo album. I didn't
Yeah, no,
realize
even
Ben
Off the Wall.
and Off the Wall is
Off the Wall is like his third,
third,
or fourth,
yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
So I was like, well, shit, because you get in this mindset of like, okay, they've had their first one, they've got a bit of success. The next one, they can never get back there. But like, I feel like because in between the first one and this, I believe 808 and Heartbreak came out, and he was on that heavily with Kanye West. And so, like, obviously there's Kanye's on this. I don't know who guessed a lot on the first album, but I feel like this second one, once you kind of come out, people notice you. People want to work with you, because if you look at like after the first Bon Iver album came out, I can't remember if Watch the Throne comes out in between that, but like Justin Vernon did a ton of work with Jay-Z and Kanye West, either after the first one or after the second one. I want to say it's after the
I think
second
it's
one. I'm sure.
I think it's before that second one. Actually
Yeah,
came
I want
out,
to say.
but I
so
have to look. At
I have to
the
look and see the
on
dates, but
everything.
yeah, I believe now that we're halfway through each other's list, we both done our 6s. I totally get it. Like, that is a myth. We can go ahead and say that now. There is no such thing as a sophomore slump if you're a good band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the caveat for all of this, I guess. Anyways, back to the list. Back half, starting out strong, dude.
Yeah.
My number 5, Prince by Prince.
Boom.
1979.
What song am I gonna know? on that one?
Totally almost put this on my debuts, and I was like, oh shit, there's one
one more,
before
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Uh-oh. I Want to Be Your Lover, dude. It's
know.
the first track. Like, can you think of a better opener?
I ain't got no money. I ain't got those other guys you hang around. It's kind of funny, but they always seem to let you down. And I get discouraged, 'cause I never see you anymore. And I need your love, babe. That's all I'm living for, yeah. Don't wanna pressure you, baby, but all I ever wanted to do, I wanna be your lover. I wanna be the only one that makes you come running. I wanna be your lover. I wanna turn you on, turn you out, all night long, make you shout. I lover, yeah. I wanna be the only one you come for.
Or for just like do not want to listen to the rest of this album. And what's also great, when you go back and listen to this, you're so used to probably hearing the radio edits of all of these songs, you forget that Wanna Be Your Lover does not stop after 2.5 minutes. It's a fucking 5 minute and 45 second like jam sesh
Yeah.
afterwards. Like you could dance to this album like forever. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You've also got Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad. That's
Yeah.
your track 2. Sexy Dancer. Okay, so your first 3 just like out of the gate, killing it. And then you got some other hits on there, but I'll point out also I Feel For You,
Yeah.
which you forget is a Prince original.
Mhm.
And that's track 8. But it's just, it's fantastic. It's definitely, it's early Prince. I had to get him on here, because I love this album. Veronica is a huge Prince fan. That's like one of the things she and I bonded over when we first met. And we listened to him constantly. But this album in particular is the one we throw on and just let play, or we throw on like a greatest hits album that runs through a bunch of stuff. But I wanted to get it on here specifically because he's another one. When you look at it, it's like he's got Dirty Mind and Controversy as well for like 3 and 4, if I'm not mistaken. But technically, we won't get to 1999 or Purple Rain because we said we're just gonna go to senior albums before we like move on to other topics and stuff. So for the time
But
being,
Prince
I
needs
had
to be
get
his
him in
own
here.
topic. I mean, we
Yeah.
have to. We
And
need to do
he's
like a
one-
Legends.
I want to do like a more of a deep dive on his more modern day output.
Because I feel like nobody knows that.
There's the huge gap of like,
Yeah.
the last decade before his death that I'm just like completely blank on. Like I don't know any songs from that era. So
Yeah. You might even think that While My Guitar Gently Weeps is his because of that badass
oh my god,
tribute he
it's
did.
such an amazing performance.
Yeah.
But,
Did you hear this-
R.I.P.
did
as
you ever-
always, Prince. Still sad about that.
Did you hear Conan talk about him at one point right after he passed? Conan O'Brien said he was at a benefit show and they were like talking about, oh, Prince is going to be here. Prince is going to be here. And so all of a sudden, like Prince just shows up and he's standing next to him. He's like, hi, Conan. He said, oh, hey, how you doing? You doing all right? He said, yeah, I'm fine. He said, so rumor is you're going to go out and play tonight. And he's like, no, it's not going to happen. He's like, oh, okay, well, that'd be cool because, the rumor was just that you were going to go. Yeah, Conan, it's just not going to happen. And then Conan says, so like a minute later, somebody comes and hands him a guitar, lays it over him. He straps it up, looks at me, winks, and walks out on stage to go play. And I was like, dude, there's got to be tons of those. I'm pretty sure there's podcasts where like famous people have gone into their Prince stories.
Yes.
Like I
They
know
are out there.
Questlove has some. Everybody's got a Prince story. It's great. But yeah, we'll have to do like a bigger deep dive just on Prince.
For sure. But go check out again what might as well be the debut, but is technically the sophomore outing from Prince. That's my number 5. Back over to you for your number 5.
I think my number 5 might actually be on your list somewhere. Might even be your number 1.
Go for it.
It's a little album from 2003.
Okay.
Got a French title.
Okay.
And
It's not on my list. Go ahead, buddy.
You didn't put it on your list?
Nope. It's in the honorable mentions.
Okay. I thought I was going to trump you. Take your number 1 down since you took my number 1 down. 2003.
There's no way you're going to take my number 1
Probably
down.
not, yeah. But Deja et tu.
Entendu?
Deja entendu.
Yeah, I can't.
Deja entendu. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah.
Dude, we are from South Carolina. It's Deja Entendu. I like that. They're Deja Entendu from that brand new.
Deja
Them boys
entendu.
really know how to rock it out.
Yeah, it's really dark and ominous. I like that sick transit for Gloria.
Sick transit.
And the quiet things that no one ever knows.
Oh, man.
And good to know if I want to talk to you,
Okay,
all I got to
let's-
do is die.
let's-
I don't know.
let's
Yeah,
not
no,
do
that
that
this
for
is
the
the
rest
out
of
this
this segment.
yeah, that's my number 5. It's the first one I realized who they were. Obviously I'd heard like Jude Law and stuff, but didn't know what they were. So first video, Sick Transit for Gloria, saw the video on MTV and was amazed at it. And then like I remember going to see them live and thinking like, we're seeing a fucking band that's like on MTV, dude. They're fucking famous. And like, you know, we talk about all that on the first episode of this music arc, the brand new episode about brand new.
Yeah.
Just how like they have a cult following. They're just crazy. But I feel like when this came out, such a departure from the first album that if you are a hardcore fan, you dug it. I've said it on that one. I'll say it again. I love the progression in their albums. There's
Absolutely.
nothing like the first one. It's perfect to me. And if we ran up through it, they'd be on every list. That should be a tell about the next list we're going to record. But yeah, 2003's Deja Entendu. Listen again, already heard, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Brand new second album. If you don't know about it, you better ask somebody. You're number 4.
My number 4
It's Dad Corner Part 3.
from 1989. Hugely influential for like a lot of the bands that I'm most into. You're going to recognize such songs as Debaser, Monkey Gone to Heaven, Gouge Away, Hey. I could also throw Here Comes Your Man.
Here comes your man.
Yeah, it's Doolittle by Pixies.
The Pixies.
Pixies.
Okay.
There's no the.
Okay.
You can call them the Pixies if you want to, but technically it's Pixies on this album. I think they are now the Pixies.
It's probably because
now that
of
Kim
copyright.
Deal does not play with them anymore. If I'm not
Probably.
mistaken. I don't even know how all that breaks down at this point. There's
It's just like it's
Frank
like
Black. There's Black Francis. Who knows? But it's one of those albums. You're just like top to bottom. It's fantastic. It has pretty much everything you know from them that you've probably ever been exposed to, just in popular culture.
Where's My Mind's on it?
No.
There you go then.
What is on Doolittle that I haven't already mentioned? Again, Debaser, fantastic opening track. La La Love You, I'll shout out as a particular choice favorite. That's track 10. Crackety Jones, track 9. This album was produced by Gil Norton. He worked with Patti Smith, Foo Fighters, Jimmy Eat World, AFI on Burials.
You're not going to mention my favorite song of all time
Echo
from
and the
them?
Bunnymen as well. What's that, buddy?
Wave of Mutilation.
Yeah.
Did you say
Again,
that already? Or
No,
was
I
tuning
didn't
out?
because I was just trying to shout out a few others. But again, it has pretty much everything you think of them for, except for Where Is My Mind.
Which, yeah.
And yeah. So
Which, I mean, if you only know them for Where Is My Mind, then you're just like one of these kitschy cool kids. You really don't like Pixies because you call them the Pixies like an asshole. So,
But
learn.
Again, I'm on record. I absolutely love Modest Mouse. They're my favorite band of all time. And I've always said, like, nobody really sounds like them. But you can feel tinges of it in the Pixies, who are essentially, like, they do predate Modest Mouse by a couple years. But then at a certain point, they're kind of contemporaries in terms of sound and stuff. So it's like there's a slight influence. And again, I feel like you get a little bit of Talking Heads in there with Modest Mouse, even though it's not obvious at first brush. But fantastic album. Go listen to it if you haven't. This is one of those I just feel like everybody should own just as like an artifact. Like if you don't have Doolittle, just go pick it up because it's probably like $10 somewhere, or you can get it used for like $5 at a record store. Just go get it and listen to it and love it. Sorry for the car alarm. Oh, somebody stopped it immediately.
Holy shit.
Never mind.
Never happens.
Okay. You're number 4, brother.
My number 4 is from 2006. It's the second album from the Gym Class Heroes, As Cruel as School Children.
Okay.
Flanked by 3 separate funny comedic vignettes. The album is titled and basically pretty much about being in high school.
Okay.
With such songs as, well, this doesn't really fit. No, none of it fits. Shit. You got Take a Look at My Girlfriend or Cupid's Chokehold. New Friend Request. Shoot Down the Stars. Personal favorite, Viva la White Girl, which everybody thinks is about cocaine. I could argue that, but to me it's about music. Gotta love it.
We'll get high and high. We are lost to the glamorous white girl. So fine, going up on the downtown line. We get high.
And Close Off, which is my favorite, which is a cover of a Jermaine Stewart song. Where in this and Gym Class Hero says we have to take our clothes off to have a good time, but Jermaine Stewart says we don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time.
So they're basically like, he got it wrong. We're gonna right this wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing.
We
both do it right now.
clothes off.
So sexy.
We have to party all night.
This is happening with
We
this.
have to take our clothes off to have a good time. Oh, no.
The videos are pretty dope. This one again, heavily influenced.
How are we gonna right this wrong? With Patrick Stump.
Yep. Shut up and kiss me like the antidote was under my tongue. Whoa. Like my favorite line from that song. But yeah, so if you want to play Clothes Off here, you can. Because everybody knows Cupid's Chokehold. It's Breakfast in America by the Supertramps, but you know.
Supertramp.
Supertramp. I don't
Singular.
know.
The
The-
Supertramps.
Fine. Breakfast in America by Supertramp. Whatever that is. But yeah, it's this.
Supertramp's one of the, didn't make my list, and I don't even think I looked it up, but I feel like they're one of those bands. They have an album where like everything you know from them is on one album. It's like Frampton Comes Alive or something.
Or like Chicago 3.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Mom said she had to buy Chicago 3 4
has
times.
So what I realized in prep for that concert. Side note, I don't know if we've talked about it somewhere. We saw the Doobie Brothers and Chicago recently with our parents. Awesome show. But yeah, I didn't realize Chicago has a back catalog of like 30 albums or some shit.
Yeah.
And when I was like, that's them. Like, what? Yeah. We could do a whole podcast on that with Mom.
Well, when you love somebody, what do you know?
Oh, God. I could have done without all the 80s. I know that's what people know them for. but
Yeah,
I
that
was
was-
just like,
yeah.
get to.
And I
I
love
want to hear
that.
Saturday in the Park. God damn it. I want to hear 25 or 6 to 4.
Yeah, and I love that they're like, yeah, we know we kind of had to change our sound in the '80s, but it
Yeah,
was
they
our best
literally
move.
talk about it on stage.
Yeah.
They're like, but we paired with this new producer and it actually generated some of our biggest hits. Here's 10 songs that we fucking killed it with during the 80s. And all of them, I was just like, God damn
That's one of those times I would have loved to be sitting with Mom and just get Bruce Springsteen, just the stories.
it. Just.
Chicago, just the stories. That'd been great. But yeah, I came to Gym Class Heroes by way of Cupid's Chokehold and found out about the Paper Cut Chronicles. Realized that Travie McCoy had won like some MTV best MC with rapping and whatnot. But what really sold me for them was the fact that it's live. It's a band, live music in a band with this hip hop feel, pop feel groove. They never quite got back to this, the Quilt and the Paper Cut Chronicles 2. I've never even heard them. They had a few kind of like catchy pop hits. I think Travie McCoy had his own deal. But this is one of those Fall Out Boy, Decadence, Cobra Starship, early or mid 2000s, like emo, pop punk, whatever you want to call it, like mashups that like I just got stuck in. And it's got the next three are really hard to do. I don't want to have to say that they're that. Like
Okay.
these next three were even harder than putting Vanilla Ice on the list, dude.
I'm pretty proud of my top 3.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what yours are.
Yeah.
So it's my number 3.
You're number 3.
I feel like this has got to be on your list. And if it's not, I'm going to be shocked. It's another, like Prince by Prince. This is another self-titled album. Can you tell me what it is? It's from 2011.
Aaron heat to the stove
Oh, you?
and the rain let in.
Okay. Yeah, you nailed it. Where is it on
Didn't I
your
lose it in the stack still? So I'ma lay that call back on. It's my number
No.
3 too, brother. It's
Okay.
my number 3 too.
All right. Yeah, I struggled because I was
I
like...
did, dude. I really
It was
did.
really close.
It says it's
to
so
number-
new.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's definitely part of it. And I have tons of new albums on here, like just
Yeah.
relatively speaking, in the span of music. All of mine are very modern for the most part.
But I'll say this: none of the ones that are on my list, I don't think they won a Grammy as being the second
Not
album.
that that's the marker of like what makes a good album,
Dude,
but
I'm kicking myself, man. I completely forgot to put LaRue on the best freshman on debut albums.
my huge one after the fact was Cold War Kids'
Yes.
debut album, which has so
'Cause
many that I love on
that
it.
first LaRue album, In for the Kill, that one won a Grammy too. This second album from Bon Iver, or Bon Iver if you're from the South, won a Grammy, dude. That like this, it was hard to put it at 3, but where the other two sit for me is like part times of my life and like when I found them and
That's
like more.
that's part of it for me
Yeah.
too, definitely. But I'll specifically speak to this one. It's one that I just remember latching on to like immediate. I don't know if like you tipped me off to it or not. I had already gotten into For Emma Forever Ago
Yeah.
a little bit, But yeah, I don't know how I came across initially, if it was like a Tim crossover, but I do remember staying in Tampa for the summer, and me and Tim like listen to this on a regular basis, but specifically at night as just like our chill out before we go to bed. Like we would just throw that on, and it is still remains a
Oh god,
gorgeous
dude.
album. I don't like it's one of those that's kind of a mix. Like I think it works great for like a nighttime drive, also works really well for a daytime drive, and it's just
Or it gets accused of being elevator music.
yeah. I mean, I get people that can't get into it, but there's moments of this album that are like exhilarating to me, and that may sound to some people like, what are you talking about? Like it's so mellow, but the layered production, man, just it doesn't sound sonically like anything I've heard in
Or
a
since
long
from him.
time, like before or since. It has a completely unique sound to it, and it's one of those I was like, how the hell are they ever going to recreate this live? And they do it.
Yeah.
Like that's the
That's-
scarier
and
thing,
that's
dude. I'm
where-
like, how the hell is that possible?
That's where I honestly, this is where it happened, because I watched an episode of SNL with Channing Tatum, and he came out and said, ladies and gentlemen, Bon Iver. And I was like, what is this? And they go into, I think it was either Calgary or, what's the other one? I can't remember. It's either I know they ended with Beth Rest. That was the second one. And I was just like, dude, this guy sounds awesome. Like his voice. And then like there's a whole fucking it's like I thought it was like a new Dave Matthews kind of thing. There's like a ton of dudes behind him playing instruments, and I was like, before these crowded streets, brother, all right. But no, that wasn't the case. But it's just so like there's so many different layers. And honestly, this and the rest of my two are complete albums. Yeah. I can listen to this and my
Absolutely.
other top
That's
twos,
what I was gonna say. It's like I could sit
over
here and shout out like, oh, I really love Perth, which is the first track. I really love Minnesota, Wisconsin, which is the second track. I really love Holocene, which is third. Like
Maybe
I could
it was
go
Holocene.
on
It
and
was
on.
Holocene. That's what he started with.
They definitely played that in the Saturday Night Live set, yeah. But I will shout out, like, if I have to separate them out, but it's like I think of them so cohesively. It's like the way they just like flow into one another. It's hard to be like, oh, I just want to throw this one on. Like, if I'm going to listen to this album, I'm going to throw it on start to finish.
Oh, yeah,
Very
no, you
rarely
can't. Yeah.
am I like, let me just skip to this one.
No, if it shows
But
up on my, if it shows up on
Panem,
a shuffle,
Texas, which we haven't mentioned, that's one of my jams.
In the first of light, past the Nokai, bodies wrapped in white. Stranded every pain, baby pass the same. I got out grand. And in all this time with your heart
you ever seen Warm Bodies?
Yeah.
I love how that's used in Warm Bodies, dude.
I mean,
it's perfect.
The only reason I like that movie to the extent that I do is because the soundtrack is pretty phenomenal, but that's also part of what I don't like about that movie is it's essentially like a giant music video that
Yeah.
kind of has a plot to hang around it, but there's so many music cues. It's like Suicide Squad. It's ridiculous.
or like a Baby Driver or something.
Yeah, but that's a completely different thing.
Yeah,
And
I know.
Take that back, because have you even seen it yet?
No, I
The
haven't.
best first 10 minutes of any movie, like in
All
the
right, I'll
last
catch it-
like,
I'll catch it as
decade,
soon as
dude.
it comes out
It's
and we can
so
talk about it.
great. Yeah, I think it's on Blu-ray very, very soon. This is not the movie arc. That's Bon Iver by Bon Iver from 2011. So that was your number 3?
That was my number.
Do you want to go ahead and jump in with your number 2, or do you want to come back to me? What
go
do you
to your
wanna
number
do?
2?
We're gonna flip flop. We hadn't flip flopped yet.
No flip flops. No flip flops. No flip backs.
No flip flops.
No flip flop. No flip backs.
All right.
Number 2 for you.
1997. This was so hard, dude. This was almost my number. Again, you could take this top 3. and
Matchbox
just,
20.
like, nah, man.
Backstreet Boys.
What would that be?
I don't even know.
What is this? Is that Mad Season? Is that the
No,
second?
that's like
Matchbox
2000. Man, 97 is 3 a.m. and all that.
20? Yeah, yourself or someone like you.
Yeah.
Or, anyways, yeah. No, Matchbox 20 is not on the list.
Okay.
I'm not gonna pull a '90s card
Santana.
in my final. No,
Okay.
should look at that though. I feel like Santana is one of those that has
Dude,
like
Smooth is
takes a little
still
while
on the
before you get
charts
to it.
right now.
That's awesome.
No, it's a
Great.
joke. Like there was like a
Oh,
Click Hole
okay. I
article
thought you-
or like an Onion article that says Santana Rob Thomas enjoys 87th like month 87th month at top 10 or whatever. It's a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Lonesome Crowded West by Modest Mouse from 1997. Their debut appeared on my debut list. They are my favorite band. Again, it was very hard not to put them in my number one slot, but I had to go with like the album itself. And while this is on my top 5 favorite albums of all time, which my number one is as well, and my top 5 of all time can kind of shift around, except for the number one, which never changes, which we'll get to on our next list, which you won't hear till next week. It's just, it tells you everything you need to know about basically first half of their career, Modest Mouse. It's raw. The songwriting is amazing. The production takes definitely a giant leap forward from the first record. Calvin Johnson worked on huge chunks of it. Isaac Brock himself, and Scott Swayze as well. And I'm just gonna shout out a few favorites. This is another one where I'm like, you should just listen to it start to finish because it's got so much great stuff on it. But Lounge, Closing Time, Shit Luck, which is track 11, and then track 8, Trailer Trash. And I got a little story. I don't know if you and I have actually ever talked about this, and it might be a first, brother. But I have to thank you for my Modest Mouse fandom, because whether you know it or not, you are the reason that I love them and I initially got into them.
Am I the meaning in your life? The inspiration?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Do you know why?
I
Can you, like, do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Is this news to you?
did I
Is this
play
a revelation?
did I play Float On for you at some point?
No, no. And I like to point out for people that my fandom does predate them becoming big with Good News and all of that. Do you remember a little movie called Crime and Punishment in Suburbia?
Oh my yeah, dude. I remember that.
Okay. The first song in the closing credits of Crime and Punishment in Suburbia is Trailer Trash by Modest Mouse.
Okay.
And I remember sitting there after that movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed and need to revisit, by the way. We could do a whole movie arc stretch on like early 2000s, like teen fuck up movies.
Oh yeah.
American Beauty, Thumbsucker, Chum Scrubber, all those. But yeah, dude, it was one of those, it just hit me immediately. I was like, what is this and why have I never heard it before?
Eating snowflakes and plastic forks and a paper plate, of course you think of everything. Short in love with the long divorce and a couple of kids, of course they don't mean anything. Live in trailers with no class, goddamn I hope I can pass high school. Taking heartache with hard work. Goddamn, I am such a jerk. I can't do anything.
And that immediately led me not to Lonesome Crowded West initially, but to Moon Antarctica, which might actually come up soon on a list. Eventually, when I did get back to this, for the longest time I was like, Moon Antarctica, that's their best album. And it's like slowly dawned on me, and gradually I realized Lonesome Crowded West is my favorite thing by them. Again, I think it tells you everything you need to know about them, and they've definitely gone different places since. But like I said, early period Modest Mouse, basically everything pre-Good News, I feel like this is really what you need to know, even though Moon and Antarctica is a fantastic album and definitely will show up on a future list. But yeah, Lonesome Crowded West, 1997, Modest Mouse, favorite band of all time. You are number 2, brother.
My number 2. Let me ask you a question about your number 1 real quick.
There's no way it's on your list, guys.
What year does it come out?
You know, I actually didn't write it down. I have dates for literally everything else.
Do you have a date on it? Because
I'll get
I'm
you
kind
a
of
date.
torn. This is I wrote it down. I was going to stick by the list, but I'm just having second thoughts before I actually have to put down my number 2 of all time best sophomore release. I want to see. It may be on your list. It may not be. but I just want to know what year the album you picked for number 1 comes out.
2003.
Okay, never mind. My number 2 of all time, 2003's Viva La Cobra, Cobra Starship.
Okay.
A complete album, completely different from the first. You need to play Guilty Pleasure right now.
Fair enough.
I came here to make you dance tonight. I don't care if I'm a guilty pleasure for you. And I don't even know what kind of fool you're taking me for. So you got some brand new clothes you never could afford before. Oh, brother, spare us all. We don't care anymore. We just wanna get down on the floor. You sell yourself to make it. You can dish it, but can you really take it? You're never gonna get it with nothing. 'Cause nothing's what you got in your head. So stop pretending. I came here to make you dance tonight. I don't care if I'm a guilty pleasure for you. Shut up, 'cause we won't stop when we're getting down till the sun's coming up.
Did I make you dance tonight? Okay, good. That whole album, you can play from start to finish. If you've never listened to it, don't knock it. Give it a chance. It's perfect. The videos are perfect. They don't.
This is legit a guilty pleasure for me. I fucking love this album.
Okay,
It's
good.
nowhere near my top 10, but I love it, dude. I'm not even gonna hate on you for
Dude,
this
tell
one.
me that isn't awesome. Like Pleasure Island, GABE's it's coming for you. Like he throws a little oh dirty in there, guilty pleasure. Don't
Still one of the best live sets I've ever seen. And they were like, do you remember that bill that we saw at House of Blues?
Yeah, it was
there was
them.
like 5 bands on that thing.
It was them,
Rock
Head On-
Kills Kid, Head Automatica, Cobra Starship,
Street Drum Corps,
Street Drum Corps, yeah.
and then 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah, 5 fucking
Yeah.
bands. That was like a I don't know who
Yeah.
put that together, but that was pretty.
Because
awesome
I remember we were
show,
leaving.
actually.
I remember we were going to go out the back way, but they were like, "Oh, you can't get out this way because you got to go do the whole." That was the best idea. If you promote stuff, got an idea for you, steal it from that show. When you buy a piece of merch, give a kid a wristband. That gets the kid in the line. You get the band right after the show. Set them upstairs away from everybody else. They sign all your stuff, and you move the line out quickly. Then there's nobody hanging around the cars like we did. We didn't hang around this time. We'd already met 30 Seconds to Mars. But you and I were going upstairs, and like Brendan Riley knew who they were before I did. That's what pissed me off. I was like, he goes, "Oh, these are the Snakes on the Plane guys." I was like, "What? The fuck are you talking about? You never heard that song, Snakes on a Plane?" No. And then the set was fucking amazing, especially when they did. What was the one from the first album I loved? Anyway, I'm losing the name because it's one of those that's got like a long ass name. But like this one came out, and I kind of dug them up the first one. While the city streets, we rule the streets. This one came out, City is at War, with the videos where pies are like bullets. And then Guilty Pleasure, they made like a bootleg one in their apartment in New York. It's fucking adorable. I love that video. You have to go watch it. The full on production one with the DeLorean and like teaching the Japanese people how to dance. That's cute, but you gotta watch the bootleg original one that was in their apartments. I hate that Cobra Starship's no longer a band. Some of the other stuff they put out, everybody would probably know. You Make Me Feel, which is a cute video and actually has a little cameo by Robin Williams. Makes me sad every time I watch it. But this is just, it was tough to make it number 2. It's a full, complete album. It, along with Bon Iver, I can just sit and listen over and over again. Again, if you haven't figured it out yet, the mid 2000s is where I'm at. I was 17, dude. I was 15, 16, 17. Excuse me. 16, 17, 18 during this time. Very impressionable. And I let it show. I may have changed how I look. I don't look like I did back then. I'm not skinny. I don't wear a lot of black anymore. And all my fingernails painted. But I love my music, dude.
Yeah,
you
man.
can't take it from me.
I feel you.
So
Okay. I think I definitely know what number 1 is.
you know what number 1 is.
And I'm ashamed to say, dude, it's in my honorable. It felt like I felt like I was just stabbing you and Tim in the guts, not putting it in my top 10.
brother.
I even talked to him earlier today, and he was like, "Well, obviously,
Yes.
obviously that's up there." And I was like, "Yeah, man, totally." And then when I started like ticking stuff off for this list, I was like, I love it, but I haven't listened to it in a little bit. But before we get into that conversation, which I'm dancing around right now, I'm gonna jump in with contributor Sunshine Mayfield's list of his top 10 sophomores. I wanted to wait so that he wouldn't step on the toes of any of our stuff, but I'm realizing now there's no way. So before we close out, I'm just going to run through his. This will kind of like lead us into honorable mentions, but we'll build up. Sea of Cowards by Dead Weather was his number 10. 4 Years Strong, Rise or Die Trying. Don't know much about 4 Years Strong personally. Number 8, Strong Choice, was not on my list. Definitely honorable mentions. James Taylor's Sweet Baby James. Number 7, Common Market by Tobacco Road. Number 6, Manchester Orchestra's Mean Everything to Nothing, which I mentioned on my list. Huge blind spot for me, and now I'm regretting that I didn't put it on my list. Number 5, Amy Winehouse's Back to Black. Fantastic
That's
record.
a great one. Yeah.
Number
Definitely honorable
4,
mention.
Coheed and Cambria. And Keeping the Secrets of
three-
Silent Hill
Yes,
3.
dude. Oh my God. Flavor House
Has a
Atlantic.
3 in the title, so you think it's a junior album, but it's not. Second Stage Turbine Blade, technically the first one. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Pinkerton by Weezer.
Oh, dude.
Came very close to my list as well. Also came very close on my list. The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. Fantastic album, start to finish. Listen to that one a lot recently, that and their most recent one. And his number 1 was Consolers of the Lonely by the Raconteurs, the semi-supergroup featuring Jack White, which you may have heard. So I thought that was a nice sampling. Not really much crossover with us, just a little bit. And look for a full article, full write-up on Alex's Top 10 on the Music Arc. That'll be up around the same time that you're listening to this. So hop on over to thearchofe.com and check that out. So now, without further ado, it's mine. Well, we're doing my number 1.
Yes.
Yeah. And then technically we go back to yours, even though we totally know what it is.
Yeah. If you know me, you
If
should
you're
know what it is.
savvy,
Yeah.
you know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But maybe the Vanilla Ice thing totally threw you off.
I mean, what's the worst thing I could
Maybe
say
you
about
feel
it
like
right
you
now?
don't know him anymore.
Yeah.
My number 1, which is from 2003, now that you reminded me to look up the date, is You Forgot It in People by Broken Social Scene.
Huh.
I don't know if you ever listened to them. I take it by your response that you have not.
Probably no. I don't
Next
think I
time
have.
you got like a midday drive, brother, or when you're coming down here, like, driving down late afternoon as the sun is setting, throw this album on and let me know what you think of it, because I feel like you would latch on to it in the way that you latch on to Bon Iver a little bit. And as much as it almost feels like it could be solely instrumental, but it's not. There are vocals. And they are essentially a giant Canadian supergroup. Like, you may know Feist. Do you know Feist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She, part of Broken Social Scene, as well as like her solo work and everything. You got people from Stars in here, Kevin Drew, Brendan Canning, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And it's one of those you can listen to start to finish. The sheer variety across all of it, it's amazing how it definitely feels like the work of, a ton of different individuals. There's like anywhere between 13 and like 25 people in the band at any given time, I guess. It's kind of just a rotating lineup. And all of those different influences are kind of felt throughout the album, but it all feels of a whole. Like, and the way that they kind of like veer off, it's almost like you're like flipping through a radio dial and like you're just getting these slightly different vibes or whatever. Like, I don't even really know how to describe it, man, but just throw it on. Ones I'll shout out real quick. Track 5, Looks Just Like the Sun. Pacific Theme, track 6. Cause Equals Time, which is track 8. And my personal favorite on the entire album, Shampoo Suicide. Hope you enjoyed that.
Oh God, that was great.
Without further ado, your number 1, sir.
Well, no, what's the worst thing I could say about this album? Is it better that I stay on topic?
I was trying to like go with you, but I wasn't fast enough on my toes. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's better if you stay on this
my
topic.
number 1 is solely my number 1 because
D&D, Audrey Hepburn, Fangoria, Harry Houdini, and croquet. You can't swim, you can't dance, and you don't know karate. Face it, you're never gonna make it.
I don't want to make it. I just want to.
That is the opening for the music video. Probably the song of the summer. Up until the next album, up until this point, the quintessential emo, like starter pack, like emo anthem. I'm Not Okay, off of 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by the band My Chemical Romance. That is my number one
Just
sophomore album of all time, dude.
just great, grazed the top 10 and just as easily could have thrown it up in the top 3.
Yeah.
Again, this fucking list was so hard to make. And anybody that's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Again, I feel like Gavin's already been pretty clear on this. We grew up in the early 2000s. And so you had this on like constant repeat. The first album as well. And eventually it just wore me down, man. And
Yep.
I love it.
I had
And
to buy it
Tim,
twice.
Our good friend, loves it as well.
Nathan even asked me
again-
about this right after the first album came out. He asked me something about it. Like, hey, what was the name of it? Or like out of the blue. And I was like, oh, you mean 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge? He's like, oh yeah, I forget about it because of the Black Parade. And I'm like, yeah, most people do. But it is a solid album, a complete departure from the first. I will give it that. There are some hints of it there. You can hear him singing on the first and you're like, there's something there with this kid. But whoever produced this next one, it was probably the change in the fact that Bob Breyer took over his drums and the shitty guy that they had as their drummer that stole a bunch of stuff and left or whatever happened with him. He's gone. Whoever produced this album, they talk about it. I don't know if you're a weird like nerd fan like I am and you watch Life on the Murder Scene, they talk about how they had Ghost of You ready to go. And the guy comes in and says, yeah, no, do it again and then bring it home. Like, do it a third time, bring it home to the crescendo, and then be it.
The song structure.
Yeah, the
is
structuring.
Way more well
The
thought out.
cinematic videos, dude. Like, I'm Not Okay. The Ghost of You being on, like, a World War II and they're in the shit. And you cross that with them at a USO. Like, it's Joseph Kahn. There's just so much. Helena, for Christ's sakes, is like everywhere. People know that. Like anytime that, obviously we all know they broke up and then they released a little, oh, we're going to do something. Everybody thought, oh my God, they're back together. But it was just a re-release of
We
Black.
all fucking flipped out. And I love they had to release a statement that was like, sorry. Like, we didn't mean
We're
to
so
freak
sorry.
everybody out.
Yeah.
Thank you for your response, but we're not actually getting back together.
Yeah, because I got the Black Parade reissue on vinyl. It's in my apartment.
Yeah.
But My Chemical Romance, you call me kitschy, call me emo, call me whatever. It's not. You say it's not good music, whatever. They're my Misfits, or they're my Sex Pistols, or they're my The Smiths, whatever you want to call them. I love this band. I wish they would decide.
I know, dude. It's hard to think of. I mean, I love a lot of other bands, but like when I was in the thick of it, like they were like, I remember Tim and I like, oh, they're gonna be on MTV2 or they're gonna be on this channel or whatever. Like they're doing a live performance. Oh, did you see this most recent video went up? Like, oh, did you hear about this shit that's happening behind the scenes? Like we were just like all over it. Like
Yeah, like, oh, we heard they're going to be on
like,
Fuse for 30 seconds to talk about something. Okay, we're there.
That's was still one of our running jokes. We were joking about it earlier today when they came out with Black Parade and they played on Fuse, and it was Steven, whatever the fuck his name is, who used to host that. We could never get over. They give this like haunting, beautiful, dramatic performance of Cancer. First time anybody's heard it.
Yeah.
And immediately afterwards, that was My Chemical Romance with Cancer. His delivery and his like, just shit-eating grin and everything. I'm just like, oh my God, you just like totally killed the mood, dude.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Read the room, asshole. Yeah, no, like this album, they talk about, obviously during the production, both Mikey and Gerard Way's grandmother passed away. So they talk about how it's 2 kids getting over their grandma. I'm Not Okay is like a trailer for a movie, and I would love to watch that entire movie. There's just so much going on. Frank Iero, I don't think gets enough credit as a guitar player. He was in other bands before this. He's gone on and done, I think it's Leather something. I can't remember the name of his, Leathernecks or Leatherbacks or something. I can't remember the name of his other band. But Gerard Way's done some stuff since they've broken up.
His
Ray
solo
Toro,
record's pretty strong.
yeah, Ray Toro is awesome. His brother Mikey, when we saw him at the Black Parade, Mikey wasn't with him. Well, we can talk about more Black Parade stuff some other time. But this album is just it's perfect to me in the sense that like Bon Iver and Viva La Cobra are like, mood albums. Like Viva La Cobra, I'm going out, I'm gonna get pumped up. Bon Iver, I want to chill. When I just want to take it back a second and just think about high school, just go back to a time where there was no bills, no rent, no student loan payments, living at mom and dad's, had my own car, riding around doing whatever. It's My Chemical Romance, man. No matter what happens, I'm talking a big game about them. I haven't put AFI on any of these lists because AFI to me doesn't get great until they get to like their 5th or 6th album. Mm-hmm. And I don't get it twisted. AFI is my favorite band of all time. But this album, I mean, this is it's up there with Sing the Sorrow as one of my favorites of that time period. But it is my favorite sophomore album of all time. 2004's 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance.
Before we jump in to honorable mentions, do you have a favorite track from that album? That may be hard to ask, but I have a clear favorite.
What's your clear favorite?
Now, I asked you first, so you answer first.
Ghost of You.
Okay.
That's it.
All
That's
right.
the pinnacle. I feel like they don't get back there on the album.
On the album, no.
No. They
Eventually,
get there
yeah,
on Black Parade and they stay there. That's what I'm trying to say.
for sure.
I do like Thank You for the Venom and God, the whole fucking album. It's not a fashion statement. It's a death wish.
That is my number one.
Really?
And it's a fucking death wish.
Yeah, it's a fucking
If we're
death wish,
doing
right?
the appropriate time.
I Lost My Fear of Falling. I Will Be With You. That whole album's great. Music videos are perfect. It flows. So it's the only one of these that I've bought twice because I played the first one so much that I had to get a second copy for my house. It's like I got one for the car, one for the CD, one for the Xbox. I put this one on my original Xbox and listened to it while I played Amp snowboarding. That's how much
Splashdown.
And
used to throw on
Splashdown, dude.
Splashdown.
Oh, yeah.
And like your custom soundtracks and everything.
Oh yeah, dude. Fucking love it.
Oh man, I'd love to find that playlist that was on there. There's so many random songs.
Dude, yeah. And the shitty thing is, I had to burn all of them to that Xbox.
Right.
It took a fuck ton of
Oh,
time.
I bet, man. It was worth it though. It was
Yeah.
definitely worth it. So those were our top 10s. Love them or hate them. Those were our top 10s. Still can't believe you had Vanilla. I can't wait to hear some of your honorable mentions with fucking Vanilla Ice still on the list at number 7. But
No, I
you
didn't
wanna-
really.
you want to kick it off?
I didn't really have any honorable mentions. It was
okay.
tough. It was tough for me to come up with sophomores, honestly.
It was hard for me to whittle down sophomores, is what I found. Again, Deja Tendu did not make the cut for me. Favorite Worst Nightmare by Arctic Monkeys. Fantastic album. Transformer by Lou Reed. Really killed me to cut that one. So
Yeah.
many great hits off of it. Good Kid, Mad City. Kendrick Lamar. And it's one that you can debate. Why are you shaking your
I don't
head?
really listen to Kendrick Lamar. I listen to Chance the Rapper more than I listen to Kendrick Lamar.
Well, it doesn't mean you can't like both.
I didn't
but-
say I didn't like it. I just said I don't
You're
really
just
know.
shaking your head very like, nah.
No. I don't know it. I don't know a song. off of it.
Fantastic album. Go listen to it. I also had Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest up there as well. Free Will and Bob Dylan by Bob Dylan. Return to
Will and
Cookie
Bob
Mountain, TV on the Radio. Antics by Interpol. Very new album, but Blonde by Frank Ocean. That was up in the consideration. Pinkerton by Weezer, I think I already mentioned that. 3 Cheers, like I said, was right on the cusp. That's pretty much all of my honorable mentions, but it took a while. I think I'm happy with the order. Shout at us, please. thearchive@gmail.com. If you love or hate our list, give us your own list. We'll read them on a future episode if you want to give us some feedback. And again, keep an eye out on the music arc itself on thearchive.com because we will have Alex's list, or excuse me, Sunshine's list up there for you to check out more in depth. And stay tuned for next week's podcast where we'll be covering our favorite junior albums, which hopefully we haven't stepped all over the toes of in the course of this one, because I feel like we definitely hit a couple that are going to show up again.
Yeah,
But-
and I mean, I don't know if we probably should have said this like from Jump Street, but this was supposed to be like everybody talks about the sophomore slump. So we just decided, you know what? Debuts as freshman, sophomore slump, junior season, and then of course the 4th album being the, senior season and you're out of here. So the idea was it was going to be fun to try and track bands who had like 4 albums that were good, because you look at My Chemical Romance, you got 3 and you're done. You got
4.
4.
You just forget about Danger Days?
I did forget about Danger Days.
Yeah.
Got to put it on the list.
Just found me.
Ooh, good one. But yeah, that's the idea here. Again, like you said, I'd always heard sophomore slump. And matter of fact, one I didn't put on my list that I think you would make fun of me for, but From Under the Cork Tree, Fall Out Boy, That whole album's solid.
Not
tight.
nearly as much fun as I made you for Vanilla Ice, dude.
Yeah.
Could have swapped them right out.
Could we retroactively put that at number 7?
Nope.
Just pretend it
Your
never
list
happened?
is your list, man.
Fuck. I thought you were going to make fun of me for Fallout Boy, so I thought you'd be thinking
Dude, if you want to get real, I could chop this up and edit it in such a way where Vanilla Ice is your number 1. So, just keep that in mind.
Do you want to take a beating Patrick Duffy? Because it'll happen if you do that.
Dude, you brought it full circle with the Patrick Duffy intro. So
Yes.
I think we should just leave it at that,
That'll
guys.
do it.
For this week on the Music Arc, I've been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. Thanks for listening, guys.
So long and good night.
I'm gonna go just like a hearse. You die to get in again. We are so far